We are going to finish up the 2004 season the way we started it by talking about a rogue, normal type deck, and this Exploud deck actually has a lot in common with that Wigglytuff build that we've already featured. The Exploud card in question is from Hidden Legends, and it offers quite a bit of versatility thanks to its 4 attacks. The first of which is Breaking Sound, which does 10 damage to all of your opponent's Pokemon. It's a great spread attack for only 1 colorless energy, and more often than not, this is the attack that you're going to be spamming, just putting layers upon layers of damage counters on all of your opponent's Pokemon, setting them up for your late game sweeper, just another Pokemon you have to come in and clean up, put those final touches on all of these Pokemon that have damage counters on them. Sometimes it's going to be Exploud itself, because for 2 colorless energy, Base Control just snipes for 30. The combo of Breaking Sound and Base Control are really going to let you take advantage of people that rely way too much on Dunsparce. Dunsparce is in almost every single deck of 2004, and having a Pokemon that just sits on your bench after it's done its thing means that you can just stack a bunch of damage counters on it and then snipe for that final 30, and that's going to be an easy prize. And that's not limited to Dunsparce. Almost every single deck in 2004 features a similar engine of 1 main attacking Pokemon in the active position and then a bunch of support Pokemon on the bench. So we're also talking Delcatty, Magneton, Manectric, Furret, Jirachi, all kinds of fun targets for Breaking Sound and Base Control. For 3 colorless energy, you can use Thunderous Roar, which is 30 damage, and Automatic Confusion. This is probably going to be the least utilized of the 4 attacks. For 4 colorless energy, we have Hyper Voice, which is going to deal a flat 60. Hyper Voice will more so be used for surprise KOs on your opponent's active Pokemon when they think they can last another turn. You only have 1 energy attached to your Exploud, you're not going to be able to knock it out. You drop a boost energy, you deal the 60, you take a prize. This is a colorless deck, of course we are running boost energy. The deck is helped by the fact that Whismur has a pretty decent little gusting attack that can also ping your opponent for only 1 colorless energy if you don't just start the game with Rare Candy Exploud in hand. Why Not is also a decent start. Alluring Smile is its own little version of Strike and Run from Dunsparce. Not as effective, but Why Not / Wobbuffet are going to be the only support Pokemon you have in this deck. Why Not and Wobbuffet both count as basic Pokemon, and Why Not can of course evolve into Wobbuffet, and you don't want to mulligan 8 times, so it's better to just have these backup Pokemon in here, not only as 7 additional basics to start the game with since we're running a 4-3 line of Wobbuffet, but to serve a key role in specific matchups. Because Wobbuffet can stall out a lot of EX-reliant decks. It's going to force your opponent to start stashing some energy on non-EX Pokemon and getting those into the active position so they can actually get some damage on Wobbuffet and knock it out. Meanwhile, you can hopefully get off a couple of flip-over attacks to stack some heavy damage on those Pokemon and help out the Exploud cause, so that when your Wobbuffet does eventually get knocked out by a non-EX Pokemon, Exploud can just shift into the active and do its thing. And 3 energy for 50 damage is not great. I am not going to advocate that Flip Over is a good attack, but you have to remember that Exploud most of the time is only going to have 1 energy on it, so you're going to have time to set up a Wobbuffet on the bench very easily, so that when it's time for it to move into the active and start combating an EX threat your opponent has, you're probably on your 4th energy per turn by that point anyway, so a Flip Over is going to be easy to accomplish. Because your early game strategy is going to be just attach 1 energy to Exploud and just use spread damage over and over and over again, that leaves you open to some good healing options mid-game for when Exploud is in danger of being knocked out itself. You can use a Mr. Briney's Compassion or a Pokemon Nurse without really losing any momentum. And then in the late game, you've got our old friend ATM Rock, which is also only 1 energy to use Stone Generator. If your opponent has any evolved Pokemon in play, remove the highest stage evolution card from each of them. Even decks that center around basic Pokemon like Mewtwo EX, Team Aqua's Kyogre, Team Magma's Groudon, they still have a bunch of stage 1 support Pokemon on the bench that probably have some stacked damage. Stone Generator is going to send all of those stage 1s back to the hand. It's going to hit the basics with whatever amount of damage is on them and hopefully score you a lot of prize cards. Here's an example of a complete deck list. Aside from the normal card draw you see across decks and things we've already talked about, we've also got 3 copies of Friend Ball. As I mentioned earlier, almost every other deck in the 2004 format was running a full playset of Dunsparce. It was the ideal starting Pokemon. So for this deck, Friend Ball might as well read as go get your Exploud. Also got the 3 copies of Desert Ruins in here to help out with those high HP EX decks. This is just going to help stack even more damage between turns, helping you get to the point of an effective ATM Rock knockout as quickly as possible. All in all, very straightforward, simple to play. The issue is that it does have varying effectiveness depending on your matchup. This deck is more so designed to combat your big EX decks of the format. Even with ATM Rock, it can still struggle against those big synergistic explosive decks like Blaziken or Gardevoir, and then it does tend to struggle against decks that do rely on your big basics like Kyogre and Groudon. But I do like the deck, and I think it's a pretty strong rogue, so I wanted to feature it on the channel. Speaking of the channel, I will be on hiatus for a little while. I found that the best way for me to make content and to please the algorithm is to bank a bunch of episodes, a bunch of different deck techs and TCG history videos so that I can just schedule them all to release regularly. So I will be working throughout the fall and winter on all of this content so that it's ready to upload all at once. That'll make the content a little more seasonal so that you're getting all of the 2005 season all in one big continuous lump. Same thing for future seasons of videos. At the moment, I don't really have a consistent schedule, so I work on these videos in whatever spare time I can find. So I hope you guys hang around and anticipate the 2005 season as I prepare all of those videos. I appreciate everyone that has tuned in for this 2004 season of deck videos, and in the meantime I still will be uploading every now and then. There are some upcoming sets that I am super excited about, with Owner's Pokemon coming back, with the Team Rocket set coming up. That is absolutely my jam. I'm sure I'm going to be diving into that as that excitement grows. I will see you all then. Goodbye for now. 2005 is on the way.